Welcome back, everybody. Michigan is now the 23rd state recalling eggs from that Iowa farm being blamed for sickening thousands with salmonella. But eggs are just the latest in a long line of recent recalls. In fact, the federal government estimates about 13 people die every day from foodborne illnesses in this country. So why is this happening now? Is it the fault of the food companies? Is it the fault of the government? And how do we actually fix it? Jeff Nelkin is a food safety expert. He's joining us with Greg Conko. He's the director of food and drug safety for the Competitive Enterprise Institute. And we also have Texas Congressman Michael Burgess. And he's the ranking Republican on the House subcommittee overseeing the FDA. Welcome to you all.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Jeff, let's go ahead and start. Thank you. Jeff, let's start with you first. We're a first world nation. Why are we dealing with these problems over food safety?
Well, I think, the food industry has become a gigantic business, and we need to start looking at how we produce food and can we produce food more safely. What safety guards can we put into place? When we talk about large facilities, how do we make sure that those facilities are as clean as possible?
So, Jeff, are you saying it starts with the producers? It actually starts with the food companies rather than the government?
Well, I feel that it starts with the food production facilities and the companies, and then also the companies that buy the product to set standards of safety.
Greg, on that, we have about 76 million cases of foodborne illnesses every year. That means about 1 out of 4 of us are going to get sick from food sometime over a year period. But we eat a lot of food in this country as well. Is it really possible to safeguard against this stuff?
I don't think so. As long as crops are grown in dirt and as long as animals produce manure, we're never going to totally eliminate foodborne pathogens. I think Jeff is right that what we do want to do is move toward a system where producers have targets, performance standards that they have to meet, but not actually set specific ways for them to meet it. You don't want to cut off innovation. You don't want to cut off the incentives and the ability of food producers to actually strive for producing healthier foods. And it's worth noting, I think, that although we do have a lot of foodborne illnesses, cases of foodborne illness in the United States every year, the numbers are lower now than they have been since we started recording reported cases in 1996. So we're improving. We've got a long way to go, but things are not as bad as I think the recent recall might portray.
You know, Congressman, let's talk a little bit about the FDA now. You are the top Republican on the subcommittee that has the task of overseeing the FDA. Where are we in the process of strengthening the FDA's power to oversee our food safety in this country?
It's something that has been ongoing the time that I've been on the committee, the last 6 years. Last summer, in July, in fact, the House of Representatives passed a sweeping change in food safety regulations. I didn't like every aspect of the bill, but I did vote in favor of it. It's been stalled over the Senate, largely over some controversies about what types of additives can be allowed in plastic bottles. And really, it's time to get that moving and get it to a conference committee, work out the differences, and give both industry and the regulatory agency some certainty, some aspect of knowing what the future holds for them. In this instance, and I do appreciate the comments of your two guests, yeah, it's impossible to absolutely ascertain with absolute certainty that foodborne illness is not going to occur. We do have a level that is lower than in previous years, and it has come without a vast increase in price in our food prices at the grocery store. So all of those things are things for which we should be grateful. But at the same time, every summer it seems, if it's not eggs, it's peanuts, it's tomatoes. Every summer we have this same angst over a salmonella outbreak. It takes us months to get to the culprit. This time, it appears it's not coming from somewhere outside the country, but coming from America's heartland itself. This is a problem that we should have been on top of. This is a problem that was eminently controllable.
Congressman, the Food Act, the Food Modernization Act, is stalled in the Senate right now. It passed through the House, but it's stalled there. Do you think there's the political will in Washington to update some of our regulations with everything that else is that's going on in D.C. right now?
It's hard to say, but last summer, in the midst of all of the angst over cap and trade and health care, we actually passed in a bipartisan fashion a food safety bill. It passed through our committee with a great deal of cooperation between Republicans and Democrats after the rancor of the health care bill. So I think it's possible. Is there the political energy to do that in the few weeks we have remaining in this Congress, essentially a few weeks in September and perhaps a week in October? And I don't know the answer to that. There are so many other things that are competing for the headlines right now. But this is one that it really should be a fairly simple lift.
Right.
The House has done its work. The Senate has done most of its work. It's being supported by a bipartisan group of senators. We had one senator in California who said, "I want you to keep BPA out of my Coke bottles." If we could simply get past that point and perhaps agree to study that later and come at this bill, we could actually get an answer that that was deliverable before the election.
All right, Congressman, thank you very much for that. And we know there's a lot on your plate in D.C. And thank you to you all. We really appreciate it. Jeff Nelkin, Greg Conko, and Congressman Michael Burgess. Thank you so much.